Today we're going to be installing our doorbell. I have wires here that I've already run through during my rough-in, so we're going to be starting with the wire already run through, but I'll walk you through the step. Probably the first thing that you need to make sure here is that your hole is big enough for your doorbell to fit into. If it's not big enough, you don't have quite enough space in there, you can take your drill, just carefully open it up a little bit. Until you have something that your doorbell is going to be able to just kind of squeeze down into. The doorbell pretty much just has two screws on the back. And what this doorbell is doing is it is completing a circuit from the transformer, the chime itself, and back to here. It's just one big loop. So what we're going to do is we're just going to connect these two to the screws in the back here, and that'll create our loop that we're then going to finish off in the attic. With the doorbell, you don't have to remember, you don't have to put the red on a particular side or the white on a particular side. All of that we're going to figure out up in the attic. So we're just going to screw these in for now and attach our doorbell. So we have our screws, our doorbell here in place. It's fitting in the hole. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a level to make sure that I have it straight up and down so it will look right. And then I'm going to set some pilot holes with my drill bit for my screws. I'm holding a level next to the doorbell as I tighten it in, just to make sure that I'm keeping the doorbell straight up and down as I tighten down these screws. The doorbell's off a little bit, it'll look a little cockeyed on the front of the house. You don't want that. There we go. Doorbell's installed. Okay, so we're up here in the attic, and what we have is the rough-in installation of where we put the transformer, which is this thing right here, to our doorbell. The problem is that I'm not a huge fan of its location, but it's already been roughed in, and with second floor in place, there's really not a whole lot that I can do to move this. So, as Captain Jack Sparrow says, there's what a man can do and what a man can't do. Well, I know I can't move this junction box, but what I can do is run another box off of this so that I have my wires in a better location. The reason why I don't like this location is because when they spray in the insulation, this is going to be very down low near the insulation, and these screws are going to be exposed. And to set this up, I took a metal box, and there's a little kind of plastic bolt thing that you can slide through a hole in the box and then screw it in tight. So your 120 is safely secured inside this box, but then you have these small low voltage wires just kind of hanging out here. And I didn't want those just hanging out down on our insulation, and that's why I don't like the location of this box. So I'm going to strictly turn this into a junction box, and then I'm going to run just a little piece of scrap wire here and maybe put the doorbell up somewhere that it's going to be safe out of the way of insulation, and I don't have to worry about some sort of little fire taken off somewhere. Okay, so to install our doorbell, I need to mount this somewhere. You can find the stud by kind of hitting on these, or you can just look for the staple. So we're going to mount this right about here, and well, I may doesn't really matter which direction it's facing. What matters is that it's mounted and secured. So we've mounted this box to a stud, and we've got our wire for the doorbell, which is going to screw into the transformer on the outside, and we've got our power coming from our junction box that we just wired up. Now, when you install the wire, you want to make sure that you're securing the wire just like you did in the junction box so that it can't pop out of there. So I'm going to push this wire basically through one of these wire clips. This is probably the easiest way to do it. That clip won't let it pull back through. And we're just going to install that, pushing it in. And that gives our wire security from getting pulled back. Now we just have to hook everything up, which is a matter of stripping, putting your two blacks together. If you watched the video on setting up junction box, you'll know that I like to just twist these together real good. Get a nice little twist going on. Make sure that they're not going to come out. Your ground goes to the green, and the ground is always the bare wire. And then I've got my two whites, which are neutrals. Okay, so now that we have them all wired, we can go ahead and tuck them into this little box. That way they're nice and secure, and we're ready to put a cover on the box. There's nothing else that we need to do behind the scenes here. It's all set and ready to go. We have basically just two wires that we're going to run right into the transformer, and that's going to be enough to power the entire system. These are low voltage, very small wires. The two screws on the front of this, basically where we're going to screw this in. When you're doing a single doorbell like this, the way that we have this set up, the wires are basically going straight from the doorbell up and into the chime, and then the chime is running straight into the transformer. So it doesn't really matter how we have these hooked on here. There is a brass colored screw and a lighter colored screw, so I always put my whites on that lighter colored screw and my reds and blacks on the brass colored screw. That way we don't reverse polarity. But for a single doorbell, the wiring is pretty simple. They took it straight from the doorbell right into the chime, and then out of the chime and into this transformer, this power transformer.